about this. This is a totally different world.
Je touche à rien. Bien joué, Yalsama. Non, c'est qui c'est pas ce pot.
Blizzard, obviously, from World of Warcraft and Diablo and everything, so I knew that this was a big deal.
On touche à
I
R.
just had no idea how much the world would pick it up and go running with it.
C'est fou.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of video games, and none of them has ever become what this game has become.
It's a new family that I've been brought into, and I feel really happy to be a part of it.
Musique d'Overwatch quand même.
So
It's
prepare
hype.
yourself.
Qui est ce gars?
Very much about every person realizing their role as a hero in a group of heroes. It challenges the individual to ask the question of what could that world be? Don't accept it for what it is. Be actually a hero in that world and making change.
You just gotta head for the kills. Now we have a series.
Fragilities! Brady! Cheerful! C'est que mes joueurs. En fait, il y a que mes joueurs dans ce reportage. Encore sur cours. C'est un reportage canadien. En fait. Mangachu, c'est un reportage canadien. Et c'est aussi un de mes joueurs.
People all over the world feel connected to at least one character. I think that's part of what's brought the universe to love this game.
Overwatch community is about joy and about love. They are sharing their hearts with us. I find it all quite fascinating, and I'm quite.
La BlizzCon, c'est un délire
it's
quand
an honor
même.
and a pleasure to play a part.
Oh non, la Team France! Avec le 6!
Welcome to my reality.
Ah, c'est Symmetra?
That sounds dangerous.
So many targets, so little time.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Conflict and war is the crucible through which we evolve.
Les doubleurs, c'est des...
Down!
prennent de la
We're
drogue.
part of a
Les
team
doubleurs, ils prennent de la drogue.
with the writers, the designers, the musicians, the programmers, the directors. That's what Overwatch is. It's about team.
Ok. Ok, bro. Ah, on va voir, juste... Be the hero. A priori, le reportage a été tourné à l'apogée quand même, hein. Je peux me permettre.
Overwatch is a team-based game about heroes. It's an action shooter.
Oui.
It's very much about every person realizing their role as a hero in a group of heroes. And you're playing a bunch of different modes, everything from assault to control
Vous
to
êtes des héros, les
hybrid
gars.
maps to escorts to elimination.
Vous êtes des
all
héros,
these
les
different
refs.
game modes. It challenges the individual to ask the question of what could that world be? Don't accept it for what it is. Be actually a hero in that world and making change. So there's this overarching story, a narrative in the game world about the interactions between this group of Omnics. Omnics are robots, essentially, that have risen up earlier in the history of the game and once threatened the entire planet.
Ok. Voilà, il nous raconte un peu l'histoire du jeu. Nous, on n'apprend rien, pour être tout à fait honnête. Ils sont juste en train de vous expliquer ce que c'est le jeu, le lore. Mais c'est le début. Moi, ce qui m'intéresse, c'est ce qu'il y a après. La scène, l'écosystème, tout ça là. Comment ils ont présenté ça.
Are you with me?
Oh. Oh.
Reinhard is this massive German tank. He is the shield and possibly the heart of the team. He's an older man, he's in his 60s or 70s, and he has a very joyful spirit to him because he came from a kind of a sad, tragic past. He's a bit of Quixote, if you will, because he's a knight, but he could be a little crazy, but it's all about honor.
Vivement le PVE pour ça, pour le lore, les gars.
That's right.
Ah, il se gave, lui. Hein. Lui, c'est un monstre.
Farah
Hein.
is like the Captain America of the game. Farah grew up in Overwatch and then really wanted to come back to it and wanted to prove herself to her mother. She is an offensive player and she's great. She's very righteous. She's very strong. She's not very funny all the time. She's what?
Non, on
She's
dirait que le
cool.
jeu vient de
She's good.
sortir.
Symmetra has a really intriguing story to me. She was basically plucked out of the slums of Hyderabad, and where she lived as a child, and was
une OPSP
taken by
Overwatch, je
the
crois.
Vishkar Corporation, who are an organization that have a questionable set of morals, which we discover later on through the lore of the game.
On va pas vous le dire,
They
mais
found a particular talent in her. They realized that she had a particular talent for the technology that they were using, which is light bending technology and hard light technology. And she was able to use her knowledge of classical Indian dance to combine it with the hard light technology to be better at it than almost anyone else at Vishkar. She wants there to be a better world. She wants so much for children all over the world to have a better world than she had growing up, and she believes that this is what she's doing. But then, through the mission that they send her on, she starts to have her doubts about whether or not this is the right.
Ok, voilà, c'est du placement, les gars. Ils sont en train de nous placer le truc. Overwatch, les personnages. Et ça, tu vois, ça, en vrai, ça manque un peu dans le jeu.
A sniper. She is on the Talon team.
Toute la partie lore et tout, ça va arriver avec Overwatch 2, ça va être trop bien.
Very cold-blooded assassin, and she is an extremely talented sniper.
Même les personnages graphiquement, ils ont évolué depuis.
The healers in the group, has two parts of her character. One that's really strong.
C'est trop cool de voir les voix derrière, je trouve par contre.
And like the mother of the militant groups, and the other part
Anna
too
Boss.
is really the soft side of being a mother and raising someone, but at the same time, like you educate them and it's not all like spoiling.
Je sens qu'ils sont pris du
sense.
personnage, quoi. Que
It's
eux, le
pretty
lore,
much
c'est important pour.
like me, sort of.
Ouais, elle s'est identifiée, elle a dit she's pretty much like me.
She had a really tough upbringing. As a child, she grew up in a kind of fictitious version of Mexico where a lot of children and women were being killed. And so when she decides to rise from these ashes, she kind of transforms into what she is now, which is a hardcore badass hacker.
Badass?
I think that Sombra is incredibly smart and strong. And she needed to become this in order to survive and also just to continue in this new life she has.
Pagando las luces.
Doomfist, he comes from a very wealthy family. There's a fictional country called Mbani, which is kind of West Central Africa-ish. And this is where Doomfist is
Et là, il y a un énorme leak sur un héros qu'on connaît pas, avec son doubleur.
Cyber
Let's go.
company. And so they're making like the most cutting edge augmented body parts that money can buy. And during the war with the Omnics, he lost his arm. And so he got the cutting edge prosthetic arm. And then before long, he was arrested by Overwatch and jailed. But then later Talon broke him out. And he got the gauntlet. And became Doomfist, the leader of the Talon organization, secret society, however you want to call it.
Stylé. En vrai, c'est trop stylé, hein. Genre les cinématiques, le lore, ça apporte une profondeur au jeu qui te donne encore plus envie de poncer, je trouve.
Overwatch benefits tremendously from the very broad acceptance. There's such a range of players, not just in terms of their attributes, but also in terms of their level of skill.
Un jeu qui plein de gens qui ont des compétences différentes qui peuvent jouer.
Depending on what you want to do, you can kind of get a few of those heroes and get really good at them, whereas other people might like other types of play styles, and then they can also do that with a completely different set of heroes.
And a lot of times we focus on sort of what can we do through the narrative and the lore or the design of the characters to make it such that anybody can just jump in and play.
C'est vrai que les personnages sont quand même incroyablement designés.
So that's just like for everybody right off the bat. But then even within that, there's kind of like a good balance of both casual and competitive gameplay as well. Like you can get to group with your friends.
Est-ce que tu ressens le lore même dans la partie PVP quand tu les joues?
But then once you start to continue to group with them and find other groups to play against or join into ranked, then you start to build that like competitive mindset. So you can kind of choose how far in that competitive mode you want to go, as opposed to if you want, you can just log in, group with your friends, play a couple casual games, and then log out at any time.
There is a more hardcore community that is very into the game and the jargon and knows all the technical things that you're going to hear about.
Non, je parle de personnages autour de.
That's the best of the best.
And
then there's the people that like to play more with their friends and are into the story, and you know, there's these different pockets.
On peut mettre pause sur une vidéo sans quelque... Voilà. Non, ce que je veux dire, c'est qu'en fait, Je vais péter un câble avec les pubs PMU. Je ne soutiens pas. Je vais devoir faire ça, tu sais. Non, ce que je veux dire, c'est que globalement, chaque personnage, les gars. Non, mais vous inquiétez pas, il est là. Il est là. Voilà, je ne fais pas l'erreur 2 fois, vous inquiétez pas. Non, ce que je veux dire, c'est que globalement, il y a, tout le lore se ressent dans les personnages, dans la façon dont ils bougent, dans les armes que tu peux voir, les cliquetis, les sons. Et il y a une vidéo qui est hyper cool qu'on a regardé avec Cola sur le canapé du bocal, je vous la passerai un jour, où justement ils analysent tout ça, la différence entre un chacal, enfin un Junkrat, un Road Dogg, et ce que ça nous dit sur l'histoire du personnage, sur ses blessures, sur pourquoi, voilà, genre le son par exemple, le son que tu peux entendre quand Junkrat marche, qui fait rappel à sa jambe de bois, la façon dont il bouge ses épaules. Et tous ces petits détails sont en fait des éléments qui, eux, ont été pensés autour d'un lore qui a été développé et que nous, on n'a pas encore découvert parce qu'il n'a pas été développé, on va dire, de manière frontale. C'est-à-dire que les doubleurs, tu vois, ils ont conscience de l'idée de la notion d'histoire qui est liée au personnage. Les game designers, ils ont cette notion de lore, mais nous, en tant que spectateurs, on l'a pas encore et elle viendra avec Overwatch 2. Et j'avoue que ça va amener de la profondeur et peut-être la profondeur qui manque aujourd'hui à Overwatch. Évidemment, une série, hein, je vois dans le chat là, une petite série Overwatch, ça amènerait tout le lore nécessaire, un peu à la Arcane. Avec LoL, ça rajoute cette surcouche de lore qui est particulièrement intéressante. Mais bon, il faut pas en demander trop non plus. Ok, j'ai bien fait de ne pas vous remettre l'écran tout de suite, je me suis pris une pub PMU dans le front.
You can identify with. And we are trying to offer things for most of the communities that we can identify like that.
But also critically important to us was this competitive scene. We know that there are people who play these games to be the best Pharah, to be the best Tracer, to be the best of whatever, and they want to measure themselves. And so we had a lot of people on the team who were from a competitive gaming scene or were of that mind of, I want to measure myself and I want to understand where I rank relative to everybody else. And I want to have a team that I play with regularly and see how that goes. So there was a lot of expertise on the team around high skill play, competitive play in particular. And there have been people who had been fans of esports for a long time, other games that were out
Les mecs qui développent le jeu, aucun doute qu'ils savent ce que c'est la scène compétitive. Plus les gens qui le communiquent, où j'ai des doutes. Crackrose, Boombox. Oh là, la TV IQ. Ah ouais. Fic. Ok, deux bonnes visières tactiques là pour montrer son tracking indécent pour ceux qui connaissent pas le jeu. Mais non, Chris Fer, le joueur quoi.
There is all this different talent from all over the world, and online you often don't get to see them play against each other because there's higher ping and
oh là là, encore avec le 6.
Time zone differences.
Ah là là.
But that's what everybody wants to see, right? They know their country's best because they log in and play competitive and play with them, or they watch their streams, or they're somehow connected with their own regions, like best of the best. But you just don't know until you get everybody from all the countries and come together for one big event. So that's what makes the Overwatch World Cup awesome, and that's like what makes any time you can bring other people from other countries in, it's great.
Mais ils ont quoi avec les visières tactiques? Ils adorent ça? Ils adorent vraiment les visières tactiques?
Yeah, I love the World Cup concept. As soon as I heard about that, I thought there was really something there because, as a relatively new game, not everyone's going to know the top players unless they're really into the scene, but you can rally behind your country or your favorite country or a country
ah, mais ouais, mais ils sont conscients que la World Cup c'est une dinguerie. Refaites-le. Meilleur comme possible.
All in the spirit of good sportsmanship. But yeah, World Cup is something special, and a lot of folks have been tuning in and showing their pride. I can't wait for myself to go watch some of the quarterfinals this afternoon. I love that concept, and I think we'll see more of that.
Le reportage est récent, mais les images datent. Oula. La diffusion du reportage est récente. Là, on l'a déjà vu, là. Je peux réutiliser les images de Liv. C'est vrai que quand t'as jamais regardé Overwatch et que tu vois ça, t'es en mode qu'est-ce qui est en train de se passer? J'espère qu'au moins le 5v5 apportera de la lisibilité.
More casual fans can appreciate just the highlight reel examples of best pieces of a tournament and the
il faut quand même avoir joué au jeu pour apprécier.
Great play was made or the team finally won and just capturing the human side again.
Je suis d'accord que tu peux être un joueur casu et apprécier, mais Zumba Bomba. Ça c'est bien, on comprend bien ce qui se passe. Le reportage Pro World Cup, c'est vrai qu'il régale le reportage.
Profitez du plaisir de la nature.
Ah, on s'est fait truffaud-head. Ça me termine, la prochaine fois ça se passera pas comme ça les gars. Oh putain, on est obligé d'écouter.
Des Alpes suisses. Livré à votre porte. Mini Meadow. Un vrai morceau de champ de plantes pour activer vos sens.
Faut deviner ce que c'est, les refs.
Ou alors, prenez juste un Ricola. Le pouvoir de 13 plantes des Alpes suisses.
C'est parfait, c'est parfait. C'est encore mieux sans l'image.
Albless a un
merci Meguer.
Des lames flexibles.
Albless.
Flexible.
Voilà, c'est des rasoirs, c'est des rasoirs.
Affûte votre style.
Ça a été dit direct.
772.
Merci pour les 2 ans, bro.
Hey, homme du monde entier, écoutez-moi. Prendre soin de sa peau peut être un vrai casse-tête.
Bon, ça aussi c'est des rasoirs.
En formule anti-fatigue, qui a vraiment le temps pour
ça c'est des rasoirs, on est d'accord.
C'était rhétorique, Thomas. Restez simple, avec des soins à base d'ingrédients de qualité, élaborés par des experts en soins pour hommes.
Quand ils vous regardent faire, ils en prennent de la graine. Et oui, la preuve qu'on peut vivre d'amour et de plantes vertes. Plus besoin de courir après le bonheur, il est dans le jardin. Rendez-vous chez Truffaut ou sur truffaut.com.
Truffaut, mettons plus de vie dans nos vies.
On a eu Truffaut, mais on n'a pas eu Again. Ouais, en vrai, celle-là, j'ai pas envie de l'écouter. Il va redire des dingues. C'est celle qui dit des dingues, celle-là. On est d'accord.
C'est quoi ça?
Je suis en pression, C'est bon.
Depuis longtemps.
8 heures de pub, hein, quand même.
Des médicaments de qualité.
Ah. Des médicaments de qualité.
Pour combattre à vos côtés. Là, quand il est important d'être là.
Je sens que ça c'est une dinguerie. Je sens que c'est une dinguerie ça.
Pour vous aider à vivre en meilleure santé, pour toujours mieux prendre soin de.
C'est quoi, c'est quel médicament?
Mylan devient Viatrice. Viatrice, permettre à chacun de vivre en meilleure santé.
Aucune idée de ce que c'est. Mais genre tu peux pas en fait, sinon on peut pas regarder le reportage. Ah, merci. À 14 minutes, on a pris 8 pubs, frère.
I guess it was over 6 years ago, but I had a friend that was working at Blizzard and they needed some contract work. And so I signed up and I was pretty new to being exposed to the games industry at that time. Yeah, so once I came in and started to get what Blizzard was and the people, I'd been reading some of the World of Warcraft books, which is funny. I read the books before I started playing the game. But the story, the creativity, and the people just were really capturing me, and I felt like I wanted to help Blizzard in any way that I could. I wanted to contribute there. So I went from contractor and then.
En vrai, quand tu regardes ça avec tout ce que tu sais, ce qui se passe chez Blizzard, l'avantage c'est que la team Overwatch a priori a été épargnée. Mais là l'ambiance quoi.
Through my agent, I did not know it was called Overwatch. It was under a code name because that's the way games do. They keep everything private. There was a picture, a drawing of what he could look like, and 6 lines. 6 lines to show you the different tones of the character. Now, because it was a new title, I really didn't know the tone, and I did it very serious. They called my agent and went, "We love what he's doing, but this guy is the heart of the beer hall." So
ok, il avait pas le lore hein, au début.
So I had the idea of taking those 6 lines and then writing more to make it a story, to make it a monologue, so that I could live the character for them. And I thought, I'm either going to get this role or they're going to say you didn't honor the writing. And thankfully, they loved what I did because they said you lifted the words from the page
Lui, il est
and you
chaud.
made him live and
Il est
breathe.
vraiment très chaud quand même.
And that was how Reinhardt was born in my mind.
At the time, they were still using code names, so we didn't know much about the game. And honestly,
C'est dur ça.
since I've
Faut être
talked
fort.
to the other voice actors,
C'est là que tu vois que c'est un vrai. Pour ceux qui doutent encore que doubleur c'est un métier d'acteur.
I feel like that I saw her for the first time. I saw the artwork for the first time at my first recording session. But the audition itself was really intriguing because she had this little monologue that was all about how she believes that the world needs to be put into harmony and there's order from chaos, and that's what I do. I create order from chaos. And so she was so elegant and so smart that I was really intrigued by her.
In my first audition, I made it this very aggressive, kind of evil tinted character. And months went by. I submitted it. You do lots of auditions when you're a voice actor. So I sent in the auditions about, maybe 6 months later. I get a call that I've been cast in some game called Overwatch.
On dirait nous qui attendons.
Overwatch, and I'm cast as some character, but I don't know who this character is because the name has then changed. And so I went into the session and got on the headphones and got on the mic and said, guys, I'm so sorry. I think you got the wrong Gen Con. I think it's
Yo,
the
merci
wrong voice
Nu.
actor. I think you made a mistake.
Salut,
and they all
salut.
started laughing and they played back
Le retour
my
victorieux de la
audition
Zilane.
I said, no, it's you.
Des
No,
petites
this
couronnes
is-
pour
it's
Nutrem, les
her."
bros.
And I wound up laughing and going
Belle
on
perf,
with it.
hein.
And then
Belle
you
Zilane, les
realize
refs.
that she's actually this very good,
Belle Zilane.
well-meaning character.
Le FC Fleur.
Her tongue. So that's when we found her voice.
One of my agents is friends with one of the producers of Blizzard.
Regarde un petit reportage posado. Bienvenue à vous.
Andrea, Andrea, she saw my work in a show about a guy named Fela Kuti. Andrea happened to have seen that production years ago, and she had this idea like, what if Star voiced Doomfist?
Ah ouais, incroyable.
At the time, I didn't
Comme
know
ça qu'ils l'ont
anything about Overwatch. I just got the call like, here's something that might be interesting. Why not check it out? And I did. Spoke with Andrea, and
Trop bien, ouais.
I got a script version, and I just started playing with some prototype versions of what it could be before I ever had a session. Then I sent that in to them, and they said like, okay, yeah, we like where this is going.
Nice.
Yeah, let's record something. So that's how it started.
Vous êtes chiant le
Blizzard
chat, putain.
contacted a company
C'est vrai qu'on
in
on a des pubs un peu.
to help them with the voice casting. Apparently, they've done some others, but they were looking for someone who has an accent that's not American or British. So, and I have a dubbing company, a localization company. So we were recommended to this English company by another Italian we work with. So we started doing voice tests. And when I read the brief, I said, oh, that's fine, but let's give others a chance because let them do it. It's lest they think like there's like some corruption here. I'm the owner of the company and so on. And I said, well, the first round of casting got rejected. Would you do it?
Elle avait peur que qu'on croit qu'elle prenait le rôle pour elle-même.
What I'm going to do is going to record it on my computer and send it as an MP3 file. And I said, that's fine.
Mais elle est italienne du coup?
Then I got the role, which was well,
C'est marrant.
but not in my wildest dreams would I thought it would come to this.
Elle disait justement qu'il y avait d'autres acteurs italiens. Donc elle est d'origine italienne. D'où l'accent. C'est un accent italien. J'arrive pas à reconnaître.
So I joined the team later than most people on the team, and I watched the growth of Overwatch as a phenomena from the initial release to where we are today. And I think I knew as soon as I played the game, as soon as it came out, I was like, this is something special. This is amazing. And I would love to be part of it.
We had the first year that Overwatch
Je lis pas les sous-titres depuis tout à l'heure.
That was a pretty amazing moment, and that was a new franchise for Blizzard. I think they'd said it was the first new franchise in 17 years, and so it got the attention of a lot of people. And
Jeff, Papa Jeff, rendez-nous Papa Jeff.
Even just from announce and whatever material was on the websites at the time, you started to see channels form and communities form And that was really incredible. We started coming out with stories about the heroes, and the players just built on that and ran with them, and it really hasn't slowed down much yet.
Last year at BlizzCon, that was my first time as an official guest. I came just as, as myself to several of them. But I was the second person out on the voiceover panel. Tracer went first, Cara Theobald. Then I came second. And again, I was tearing up because I went, the reaction that Cara got, people cheered and went nuts. And I went, the minute we step out that door onto that stage, it all changes. And in a way, we became the Beatles in some crazy, crazy, crazy way.
Il a vécu sa meilleure vie, le type.
And none of them has ever become what this game has become. So I was totally not prepared. I had no idea it would be this big. Did I ever imagine
On était les Beatles, les gars.
At BlizzCon or at any con doing this? Never. So no, I didn't know. It's cool.
I had no idea. I don't even know if anyone really did. To me, it was just a gig. I got this gig, I got this
Pour le moment, c'est vachement orienté autour du doublage, ce qui est bien,
really
mais
character. I was really happy
ça parle
that I
beaucoup
got
du
it.
doublage et
But it's only after like
du jeu.
I don't know, 6 months after the game actually came out. And when like my Twitter account started going woof, I was like, oh, I think this game is going well.
And then boom. Once we started recording, they said, "Sir, you don't understand. This is big."
Did I think that it would be this big and it would be this sort of embraced and also used in so many different
Mais les gars,
the fervor around
quand tu vois la ferveur qu'il y avait en 2018, tu te dis que ça peut revenir, hein, mais il va falloir qu'il soit bon.
I guess I had always hoped, but we are tremendously humbled on the team, and always, every day, we have moments where we sit back and we go, God, this is amazing, and we'll check in with the artists and go, can you imagine that this thing that you drew once 4 years ago is now an action figure or a statue or whatever?
Du merch. C'est du merch
really,
maintenant. Et on fait de la thune avec, mon ref.
With the writers, the designers, the musicians, the programmers, the directors. That's what Overwatch is. It's about team and it's about joy. And somehow, I get to share in that.
Il est trop heureux, le doubleur de Reinhardt. Ça fait trop plaisir. Il est trop heureux, tu sais. Un petit maillot de hockey Overwatch, là. Ah, c'est un bonheur à lui, ça, là, je suis d'accord. Mais par contre, les gars, ça veut dire que... Enfin, franchement, je trouve que c'est plutôt positif. Certes, on est en mode « Ah, c'est chiant et tout, regardez comme c'était cool et tout. Mais en vrai, ça montre que... Et d'ailleurs, je suis sûr qu'il y a plein de gens qui sont dans cet état. Ils attendent qu'une chose, c'est qu'on ait le retour des World Cup, le retour des events. Et que ça, la flamme se ravivera, quoi. Mais il faut qu'ils communiquent correctement.
We are always listening. We value player feedback tremendously, and it's a core value. It's part of how we work.
There's a new era of gaming, I think, that's been around for a while, which is you no longer, even 20 years ago, you no longer take something and just put it in a box and put it on a shelf, and then that's the last that you have to do with it. Now we're in this world where the game is constantly on, and there's an evolution, and that is enhanced by a conversation between developers and the people who play the games. It is very much a critically important part of our day, not even just once a week or anything like that, but we're always looking at the forums, we're always looking at Reddit, we're aware of how people are playing, and we see it reflected in the behavior in the game. We know which characters players play, we know how a change has been received, we understand their behavior within the game itself. So in order to make that relationship functional and productive, we have dedicated staff that are working on that.
C'est intéressant, c'est intéressant.
Team, our PR and marketing group is very, very involved in that.
Aïe, 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 aïe.
way for us is for developers to be voices on electronic forums like.
Bon, ça c'est vrai. Les devs sont souvent impliqués. Mais la com.
I mean, it's so much fun walking around at BlizzCon and talking.
La com, ils ont quand même abusé.
We get inspired by things that they say or even questions that they have at panels.
We have that common passion for the game and the world, the heroes that it's created, and we try to participate with them. I mean, I think as a Blizzard employee, you're also part of that fan club, you're part of that community, and so hopefully you're having an authentic relationship that's built. I do think in healthy relationships, you need to be listening, you need to be communicative, you need to show that you're hearing them and that you value them. And so we're always striving to do that. We think that's really important.
We just are all
J'espère qu'ils ont bien écouté les refs.
see the reactions from the community to what we've done, because we as fans of the work, and we're super excited and we think it's really fun. We can't wait to see how people react to it, the looks on their faces. One of my favorite moments was watching the crowd during the reveal of both
oui, mais refaites des cinématiques.
and also of the Reinhardt cinematic.
Refaites des cinématiques.
So many different stages. I'm very familiar with it. I love watching it again, but almost more than that, I like watching the crowd and seeing people when they thought
On va leur envoyer le docu à Blizzard.
seeing their faces, or when they see the moment where Reinhardt turns into the Reinhardt that they know. It's so rewarding for us to know that you're having that impact on somebody.
C'est ça la clé. Les World Cup et les cinématiques, c'est gagné.
Really special for us, and you'll have all of the devs
Novembre,
here. In
Quizers.
fact, most of Blizzard that works in Irvine, I think we've got 2,500 employees that are all here, and they want to talk to players. So, they want to. This is the time to get that face-to-face feedback in, and
Les nouveaux héros arrivent.
positive and negative, but just want to hear from folks. And yeah, in person is great. And I
Et
think
la
the
BlizzCon, oui,
devs,
elle a été annoncée
for
en
many
novembre.
months really look forward to opportunities like this.
Maintenant, on sait jamais, mais. Oh.
Well, definitely like BlizzCon is the premier Blizzard event. Like everybody's looking forward to this, both players, fans, and Blizzard employees. Just everybody like comes together, and it's super awesome to see because you find people that you already know either in person or online and meet them for the first time. You get to see everybody else get excited about like new heroes or new maps and features. The community as a whole is like why Blizzard games in general are so good, which is why I love them. And for Overwatch especially, it's sort of just that like community feel, like everybody has their own hero, everybody has their own clique, and everybody gets together, and it's like super friendly and accepting, and like I feel like that really does like go out into like just like, your everyday communication with each other. And
Blindax.
Yeah.
We've heard stories of, people who've been through cancer, and while they're recovering, all they do is play Overwatch. So they feel like a certain character saved them, or Overwatch saved them. And I met a woman who had been going through some serious postpartum depression, and her husband would take the baby and just say, just play Overwatch for a couple hours. And so she just felt that Mercy and Sombra like got her through this really depressing time. And that sounds crazy if you've never played the game, but when you're so invested,
si tu joues en ranked aussi, ça a l'air un peu fou. Soigner la dépression par Overwatch.
And that's where they just express so much love.
That sounds crazy.
Gifts, which I never want them to bring me gifts. I just want to be able to hug them and meet them and thank them for being fans, But I think that I didn't understand what an impact this game is making on a larger scale, not just entertainment and like, video games. I have so many young Latinas that come up to me with their tiny little voices telling me that they love how Sombra, is inspiring them. And so then I just tell them, well, then, let your voice be heard because that's what you're here to do, And so if our characters can inspire them in any way and help them believe in themselves, which I think is the biggest thing that, young people need to do nowadays is believe in themselves and their art or their passion, and that's what we're doing as actors and these characters are doing. I think that just brings it all together in a really beautiful way, and that's been the most touching for me,
Allez, par contre, les cosplays sont insane.
So
Mianzo Genji.
Fan fiction, sometimes they'll take, the heroes or the universe and write their own fiction, which we love to see. There'll be things like the Diva character where they came out with Gremlin Diva, and the creators of the game kind of gave a nod to that with their skin that came out. So I love things like that where the community actually inspires back to the dev. But there's so much phenomenal cosplay nowadays, and oh my gosh, I was at
Les cosplays sont incroyables. Les cosplays sont incroyables par contre. Ça pour le coup, les cosplayers c'est des giga cracks.
There's the professional players.
Attends, c'est Mi Merci Mi Genji là? C'est quoi ces mix?
And yeah, there's lots of different pockets in the community. Some people love the story, and they love the heroes. They love the comics that are coming out. Some want to play at the most competitive level they can. So people tend to find their niche.
En vrai, il y aurait toujours eu du contenu régulièrement sur le jeu. Ça serait toujours un. Ça n'aurait pas baissé, on va dire, en termes de. De hype western.
Overwatch, I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. I dig first-person shooters. and then just fell in love with the characters, the gameplay, the bright colors and everything. And yeah, it was just my kind of game.
At first,
Le retour des pubs.
Hé, hommes du monde entier, écoutez-moi. Je sais que ce n'est pas facile, mais parfois, il faut tourner la page. Comme ce vieux rasoir que t'as depuis toujours. Ça y est, t'as grandi, ta peau mérite mieux. Regarde.
Eh vas-y. Non mais en vrai ce qui est bien c'est qu'on peut laisser en silence. On mettra juste le son pour la pub Truffaut parce que Truffaut ils apparaissent. Du coup c'est les refs. mais non, franchement c'est pas mal intéressant. Voilà, c'est vachement tourné autour des personnages. Je pense que c'est quand même un reportage qui est grand public. Donc du coup, beaucoup de pubs rasoirs. Féfé vous explique, c'est vrai que je me rase pas si souvent. La pub Truffaut!
Et oui, la preuve qu'on peut vivre d'amour et de plantes vertes. Plus besoin de courir après le bonheur, il est dans le jardin.
Eh oui, le bonheur est dans le jardin, mesdames et messieurs. Let's go Truffaut! Mais ouais, non, pour le coup, c'est très grand public, ça se voit. Mais il y a des trucs intéressants et c'est vrai que ça rappelle des moments d'engouement, etc., etc. Et on le voit, hein, les points ciblés, le contenu, bien évidemment, donc les héros, du contenu régulièrement, les cinématiques pour les annoncer, c'est vraiment un truc qui est super fort, qui honnêtement amène du lore, amène du cadre, de la hype, et ensuite dernièrement les World Cup. Les World Cup pour moi ça reste pour la partie PVP et la partie on va dire grand public qui s'intéresse à l'e-sport, la World Cup, c'est le meilleur moyen de faire revenir toute la fanbase. Et moi, je te dis, BlizzCon en novembre, tu fais une World Cup pendant cette BlizzCon, c'est un banger, c'est juste un banger. Ça revient en mode let's go là-dessus, quoi. Il n'y a qu'à regarder le nombre de vues sur les cinématiques. Ouais, clairement. Il y a vraiment un partenariat à créer avec le bocal pour mettre des plantes vertes. On a déjà eu un partenariat avec Interflora qui nous a envoyé les plantes.
To play May. She's cute, has glasses. So that was my initial reason to play. I had no idea what the game was about. But
Ah, le
as I
skin
got more
Rodog.
into the game, it's more than just
If
like
only you
full
knew.
character designs. Like with the community, I actually got close to my boyfriend.
Let's
We
go.
played Overwatch together.
Yes,
and I
à
made
pécho
actually
sur
a lot of my
Overwatch.
really close friends just because of the game. So it's kind of cool how like one game, like people think, oh, if you play
Ricky
games
Panda.
at home, like you're introverted. No, actually, it helped me make a new community of friends, which is really awesome.
I think what drew me to Mercy and Overwatch in general is I'm actually a nurse in real life here in the United States. And so Mercy being a healer and a researcher and a scientist, I just thought that was so cool and empowering. And I think what I loved about Overwatch the most was just the diversity in general, and that no one seems to care what you are. Even if you're a gorilla, you're a scientist, and that's, I think, so cool to me. And it's just such a family oriented game. And
Matt and Tara got me into Overwatch. They kind of forced me to buy it, so I was like, eh. And then I got it, and I was like, all right, well, it's my life for the next 3 years, I guess. And it has been.
C'est ma vie les 3 prochaines ans. Voilà. I guess je vais devoir jouer à ce jeu pendant 3 ans. Elle est shootée. Elle a l'air fardax de fou. Elle a fumé un énorme ouinge. C'est autorisé en Californie.
They're more realistic. Now, when I say realistic, I don't mean like everyone can have the body of Widowmaker and everyone can have the body of Roadhog. But I mean more realistic as more relatable.
Incroyable la
versus like League, I feel like it's so like fantasy.
Le cosplay est fou en vrai.
Well, we kind of get this like human aspect of Overwatch characters for a lot of people to relate to, and I feel like that's that's something that people want. Like people want like this realistic and diverse kind of competition in like FPS. And I also feel like it's such a fun FPS. Like, yes, it's similar to TF2 and whatnot, but it has its own appeal and its own like attractiveness to certain people that I feel like it just kind of like there's a reason it won Best Game of the Year last year. It's wonderful, it's beautiful, it's well done, and the community like works with Blizzard, and like they bring a lot of like jokes and memes into the game too, which is really fun. And I really there's so much about it that I love.
When we were in Phoenix,
Ils sont passionnés, hein, c'est.
One of the things is that
J'ai envie de retrouver ça dans le regard des gens, moi.
Talking to us about the game, and that was the coolest thing ever. And total strangers would walk up and be like, "Oh my gosh, you love Overwatch too!" And we actually made a few friends because of Overwatch, and especially being at all these conventions.
Je suis obligé de mettre pause et on va avoir une pub PMU. Vite, j'enlève le truc. Hop. Elle a dit You love Overwatch too. Elle l'a dit, mesdames et messieurs. Elle a dit « You love Overwatch 2 ?» Leak. Leak, elle avait déjà accès en 2018 à Overwatch 2. Elle l'a dit, mesdames et messieurs. Haha! Leak en direct. Allez hop.
Where, especially BlizzCon, where everyone loves Overwatch, it's like you
Elle est
feel
sous
a part of
NBA.
this community, and people who have no idea who they are, different walks of life, they just come up to you and they just want to be friends, and they know that's something you like and they like, and something you can really bond over, which is so crazy.
It's a very positive event for everyone to get together, especially because
Incroyable.
different cultures together, and that you don't
Elle,
have
elle
to
incarne le
culture,
personnage.
culture,
Elle.
a certain race, and you just bring everybody together, no matter who you are. It's a really good thing. So I enjoy this.
On dirait qu'elle buvait son café, on est venu la déranger en mode excusez-moi, je suis avec Farah, on est en train de discuter, c'est ma fille. Mère et fille n'empêche déguisée en Farah Anna, c'est incroyable.
No clue about this. This is a totally different world for me. I've tried to understand for 2 years. I'm recording via Skype in a studio in Cairo.
Ah, elle est
And
égyptienne,
everyone's
ok.
saying, it's huge, and there's a fan club, and then I get like letters. Could you sign this, or could you sing happy birthday to my girlfriend? I said, is this for real? It's like I've never like thought. And in the office we have someone who's a complete video game freak, and he said, you have no idea. You have no idea what BlizzCon is. I said, okay, fine. I've seen the videos, but yeah, it's big.
Ah mais c'est sûr qu'en plus si t'es à la BlizzCon,
là
oui.
Team, the other players. It's like in dubbing, like people when do a role, you never know what the others are. And then when you see the film all together, this is like, there's something else. This is the same here. You meet all the others who are doing the roles, and then you see how really the community, whether it
Non, j'ai pas fait la
Blizzard
BlizzCon.
themselves, how they care about their characters, how professional they are, and then how they take care of the talents that are here. And then you see all the fans and find people waiting for 5 hours just to get a signature. It's like, it's still overwhelming, and I tend to be a late reactor. I'm sure this is just still going to sink in.
This is a different level. It's a completely different sort of thing. And I'm still just scratching the surface now, just from last night and today, walking around and seeing what everybody's putting into it. But the bottom line
Attends, mais
is that
lui...
it
Ah non,
touches
j'ai
a
cru que
very
c'était son
warm
vrai
place
ventre,
in
le
my
Rodog.
heart. To see people enjoying themselves and expressing their passions.
En mode, il a bu un peu trop de bière.
Cool way.
It's wildly humbling and gratifying, and I mean, we fall in love with them on a regular basis, individually and as a group, you know. They're so generous with their art, with their being.
Ce qui est marrant, c'est quand même le reportage autour du fait que la communauté est incroyable. Et ça, c'est une vérité, tu vois. Évidemment, il y a de la toxicité comme dans tous les jeux compétitifs, mais tout ce qu'il y a autour et tous les gens qui sont juste passionnés par le jeu et par la compétition, mais regardez de la compétition. Là, la communauté, elle fait tout en fait. La com réalisée par Overwatch, c'est les cinématiques, mais après, c'est la communauté qui crée tout cet univers.
You know, it's our job. We better be the people that they see us as. We better be that good. We better be that generous back, because they give so much, so much. And I love how excited they get about the game, because then we get excited about the game.
When I come to events like this one, everything kind of starts to make sense as to why we're doing this. And because most of the time, we're just alone. I'm here, I have like the whole team I can hear them in my ears, but I can't really see them. I have this microphone and this list of lines, and I'm kind of on my own. And here we get to meet the people who receive it at the other end, see what it does to them, and it really affects, like the fans, the game is such a part of their lives. They play it for like hundreds of hours. They basically live with us and with our voices and our characters. And when like coming here, just seeing all the joy that comes out of it,
Let's go.
It's so humbling. It's great.
At the beginning, I didn't quite understand it. I didn't grow up as a gamer. My cousin played Nintendo, so I sort of saw it growing up, but it wasn't something I did. So I wasn't quite sure why people loved this game so much and the characters.
Ne prends pas ce personnage.
I understand the fandom, and I mean, of course, it's an incredible game, and now I get it all, but at the beginning, I wasn't sure what was happening, you know? And then I've just really appreciated the fan art so much. I feel like all these artists are so talented and they want to express their love and their version of the characters. So I try and share as much fan art as I can. I love the cosplayers that dress up as Sombra. A lot of them have expressed.
Et Arthurian, ouais, c'est pour parce qu'il y a des Américains qui reprenaient mes lives pour faire des articles. J'ai dû mettre pour 2 semaines. Là.
And again, because I didn't play many video games, I wasn't sure if there were a lot of Latinos in games before. And now I really like knowing that Sombra is somebody they can look up to as a strong female, you know, character. And so I love being a part of it. I love saying that I feel proud to be her voice. And so I really, it's an honor to be part of Overwatch, and it's really awesome to be the first Latina superhero.
The Overwatch community is about joy and about love. They are sharing their hearts with us. I have never felt there. We did the Reinhardt animated short yesterday. I got to introduce it, which was an honor. And after the end of the day, I was running around doing a lot of things, and my wife said, okay, you can check Twitter now. And there were 300, 400 messages, not just little things, messages about how much they loved it, what Reinhardt meant to them. And
Et oui, il faut des articles
I was tearing
drama.
up because as an actor and as a person, that you can make someone feel that you can move them, that you can make them have a better day. You never expect that. It's a joy and a privilege to do it. So, I mean, that's what that community gave to me. I'm just a dum-dum with a crazy voice that hopes to entertain them. And somehow, I think I'm doing that.
When I started getting requests for interviews and for Funko Pop character signings and for, you know, for voice messages, I was so blown away and so taken aback. And then to see people who put just hundreds of hours into cosplay costumes, that kind of energy.
Là, t'as tous les hardcore fans en plus à la BlizzCon, donc tu m'étonnes que les doubleurs ils sont en mode mais what the fuck is that?
It blows my mind. I'm so flattered. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful.
Mais let's go, Reaper dancing, baby.
I'm just taken aback and really grateful, and I really take it in. Like I drink it in. The energy has been just incredible.
On nous fout de la pub. Je le sens là. Là, c'est une transition pub. Ok, c'est bon. Oh, hot. Allez, maintenant on rentre dans le vif du sujet. La compétition. Omen, by HP, incroyable. Le plus gros sponsor de l'histoire d'Overwatch. Yopreda, merci pour ton 3e mois.
Balance the game
Overwatch.
For the live game. I think our cadence of patches that we've done over the past year, sometimes we're going, you know, we'll patch on a Tuesday and then the very next patch is a Thursday, and that.
Excusez-moi, est-ce qu'on peut prendre cette situation avec 2 ans de recul et dire qu'il y a eu un rythme élevé de contenu tous les mardis, jeudis du contenu, cadence infernale? Mon frérot, depuis 3 ans, la cadence, elle est pas si infernale, hein, si je peux me permettre. Bon, hein, va falloir y revenir. Allez, on s'y remet. C'est bien, tout s'est bien passé. Mais ça, en vrai, objectivement, les gars, ça a été du hint de la part de la com, encore une fois, qui a voulu sortir un Overwatch 2 et qui, du coup, a enlevé toutes les ressources d'Overwatch pour les mettre sur la suite. Alors qu'ils auraient passé le jeu en free-to-play, ils auraient continué de faire du contenu régulièrement. On aurait eu Sojourn l'année dernière, on aurait eu Junker Queen l'année d'après, on aurait eu tous ces persos qui seraient sortis au compte-gouttes, un peu comme n'importe quel jeu e-sport aujourd'hui. Et pour Maoga, oui, si vous voulez, mais en vrai, le vrai problème, c'est que oui, à l'époque, il y avait du contenu régulièrement. À l'époque, on avait 1 à 2 héros par an. À l'époque, on avait des patchs, des rééquilibrages tout le temps, le jeu évoluait graphiquement, etc., etc. Mais c'est cet Overwatch 2 qui a hint. C'est la communication et la partie business qui s'est dit. Et pour le coup, là, Papa Jeff a un petit peu hint parce que lui, il voulait un nouveau jeu, hein, Papa Jeff. Hein. Il voulait un nouveau jeu, Papa Jeff, il voulait un Overwatch 2 avec justement comme si on devait racheter un nouveau jeu. Au lieu de passer le jeu en free-to-play et de continuer de créer du contenu et de diversifier les revenus possibles. Et pour le coup, c'est... il y a eu un patch le mardi de décembre 2020 et jeudi janvier 2022. Ah, ça, c'est rageant un peu parce que...
Cadence is very intense. but it reflects our commitment to hearing what the community is saying about the competitive nature of the game and also about the relative attributes of all the different characters as we change them to match the play styles that players are utilizing. We're very aware of the impact of those changes on the competitive scene, so we try to make sure that we have a stable environment that's separate from the sort of play for the professionals to play on, to practice, learn those sets of attributes of those characters, and before we change that, we'll give them a lot of notice, and we'll make sure it's most likely not before a big competition so that we don't sort of unbalance things right before then.
I've got you in my sights.
Et encore, hein, ils aiment bien mettre les visors. Hein. Genre on dirait c'est des mécaniques incroyables. Waouh. Enko. Oh le duel, la battle merci de Enko. Tralala, sous. Oh là là, AKM, c'est vrai, le soldier d'AKM était chaud. Bah, il faut arrêter avec les visors, mais... Brady, agilities. T'as les coups de marteau dans la roue, mais il meurt pas là avec son Genji.
Hard work is like obviously the key, no matter whether it's sports, esports, like anything at all. But it's very similar, like esports is very similar to sports in that level of like, there's all the attitude adjustments that you need to make, and there's the teamwork aspect and the individual skill and all the work that goes in time that goes into it. So you can definitely see, especially in these esports tournaments, who like does really well on stage and just keeps their cool versus who gets a little bit nervous and then starts making mistakes. So there's like a lot of those similarities, more than you might actually expect between sports and esports.
Australia, you're Crocodile Dundee!
Ok bro. Il supporte son pays. Et ligne de joueurs chinois.
So to become like a really good esports player, you have to find what you think that you're kind of naturally good at, and that might just be what you enjoy. And because if you
mauvais choix, reportage, mauvais choix.
You can get really good at
it
because of that. And then you start getting better. You find other people to also help you improve. If you're just like beating up on other people who aren't taking it as seriously, it's really hard to get good. So you kind of surround yourself in a group of people that are also competitive. And so how I actually got into it was through my older siblings, because they've been gaming since before like I could even walk. So I was able to watch them, study them, see what they did, and then I was getting older and older. Like it was always a competition with family of like who's going to be better than the next guy. And I had like a 5 or 6 year disadvantage, so I obviously got beat up on a lot, and I was used to losing.
Ouais, l'excuse de l'âge. Hein.
Helped me kind of build that like it's okay to lose. I just got to improve and get better and better and better.
Voilà.
Which is also really
important. Bon, tu montes,
like,
hein.
mindset and attitude of just like instead of taking losses really hard, just being able to go in there and like learn from it and get better. That's huge. And again, both sports and esports, and the players really need to have all of that.
Oh putain. Alors, petit break publicitaire visible, bien évidemment. En tout cas, non mais vous inquiétez pas, on mettra la pub Truffaut. On mettra la pub Truffaut, vous inquiétez pas. On respecte. Si elle apparaît à l'écran, on la met. En attendant, honnêtement, bon, c'est intéressant. Là, on va rentrer dans la partie e-sport, donc c'est la pub Truffaut. Excusez-moi.
Ils en prennent de la graine. Et oui, la preuve qu'on peut vivre d'amour et de plantes vertes. Plus besoin.
On peut vivre d'amour et de plantes vertes. Oh yeah. J'avoue qu'au début j'avais l'impression que c'était trop généraliste, mais pour le coup là le reportage est vraiment intéressant sur la partie. Bah, en vrai tu sens que les devs ils sont conscients que la commu c'est des fous, que le contenu régulier c'est ce qui fait que ça crée de l'engouement, les cinématiques, la World Cup. Donc tu sens quand même qu'il y a eu une vraie, enfin il y a des gens, les gens qui vivent Overwatch, qui construisent Overwatch, et ces gens-là ils sont conscients de ce qu'il faut faire pour que ça aille mieux. C'est ceux qui veulent être au contact de la communauté, c'est ceux qui veulent avoir, on va dire, le retour des fans, le retour de la communauté, etc. Mais ce qui me fume, c'est qu'ils se gavent déjà avec les pubs à la télé, mais là, t'en prends 10 fois plus, ça n'a aucun sens. Ah, mais ça n'a aucun sens, Nak. C'est pour ça que j'ai pas trop de pitié de le regarder comme ça, parce que ça n'a juste aucun sens. Plus tu mets pause, plus tu tapes de pub sur... Ah ouais? Plus tu mets pause, plus tu tapes de pub? Ouais, c'est vraiment l'anti-react, quoi. Mais ok, ok. I see. Mais ouais, du coup, qu'est-ce que je voulais dire franchement, il n'y a que ça à refaire. S'ils arrivent à recréer du contenu régulièrement, à être justement proche de la communauté, à communiquer. Et ils ont l'air d'en être conscients, vu que c'est la communication qu'il y a eu du côté de Blizzard récemment. C'était ça, hein, c'était on veut être proche de la commu, on veut être proche on veut communiquer mieux, on veut vous donner du contenu régulièrement, etc. Le bail avec la pub Truffaut, c'est la seule qui passe à l'écran. Ah bah, let's go.
I definitely think seeing esports and like competition-wise in video games rising is a great thing. It's giving people who don't have all the athletic ability, but
Ce qui me bute par contre, c'est qu'il parle de l'e-sport, il parle que de la World Cup, alors que l'Overwatch League existe, et ça montre à quel point la World Cup c'est le contenu premium en réalité sur Overwatch.
Having parents tell you, oh, like, don't play video games, it's not going to take you anywhere in life. Well, it's not true anymore. You can make a lot of money and do very well for yourself.
The money?
Well, let's face it, none of us play games to lose. We all want to play games to win and points, and you know, the gamification of life is part of what has made it fun in the modern era.
On n'est pas là pour s'amuser. Ah, c'est possible, Dorak. Oh là là, Nico GDH! Mais non!
Fun competition to the game, but
Vous avez raison,
also
les
the fact that the folks that are competing in esports are not traditionally the same people who are on the football team. Traditionally, you know, there is some crossover. So for there to be an athletic place, for there to be a sports place for people who have found their niche here is just another example of how there's a place for everyone in the world that was created. I love it. I'm still amazed. Look, I'm so bad at the game. I feel like my grandmother every time I try to play. I'm like, I'm trying to walk. I'm trying to do things. So watching them play is
Voilà, par contre,
like watching the Olympics.
avancer, on peut l'aider. On peut l'aider. ZQSD. Ah là là. On nous montre Snilo alors que pendant ce temps il y a Sun qui tue tout le monde. Mais c'est pas l'envoi. Ah si. Si, c'est l'envoi. J'entendais pas sur Fourdre, j'étais en mode mais y a pas sur Fourdre. Oh non, c'est le moment où tout a... Attendez, le reportage devient accurate.
I've been making games for a very, very long time. It's something that I made a choice really early on in my life to kind of do something fun and technical and creative and has a really good business behind it. One of the most satisfying parts of being part of Overwatch is this team. And the energy and the ethos and the values that they bring, it's like nothing I've ever experienced. There is a clarity of vision and a drive to always do what we think is right, and it's driven by a deep understanding of what the community and what the players want, and a connection and an awareness that we are that community as well.
Yeah, the values of inclusivity are important for Blizzard. And so I do think it even comes from our founders, you know, Mike Morheim and Frank Pierce and Alan Adham.
Yikes! Ah là 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 là, quand on sait tout ce qui s'est passé après, là, d'entendre les valeurs d'inclusivité sont importantes chez Blizzard. Le citer Bobby Kotick, c'était perdu. C'était vraiment perdu. Et on est passé à ça, les gars, on est passé à ça.
Overwatch has just done some amazing work in that regard, and Jeff's spoken at several industry events.
Par contre, Jeff, on a eu des infos à l'époque que Jeff justement a protégé un petit peu cet écosystème toxique. L'équipe Overwatch avait globalement été protégée de cet écosystème. Je veux dire merci à Papa Jeff pour ça.
It is very much a game about reflecting reality and sort of saying, hey, this is in this hopeful, optimistic, bright world. What could this world be? And we think that it's very important to include and have everyone feel as if Overwatch and the universe of Overwatch is a place where they can be, and they can be that hero. So we wanted actually to reflect the reality of the types of people that you interact with and all the different places that you could go, whether it is a global roster of heroes.
Papa Mike aussi, ça marche de 10 kilos.
May be different than
Pour le
you
coup,
and
toi,
I.
tu sais de quoi tu
the
parles.
world that they've created in and of itself is already wonderful. It's a positive light, and I think that we need that, especially in these times in the world. But I also think that because people all over the world feel connected to at least one character, I think that that's part of what's
C'est fou qu'ils apprennent les poses et tous les cosplayers, ils sont tellement investis, c'est trop bien.
You know, we've met fans in Australia, in the Middle East, in South America, and I'm just in awe that there's fans everywhere because they do feel connected, and not just because of their ethnicity or their nationality. Sometimes it's just the personality that this character has or certain strengths. It's like they see them in themselves, and they're all so diverse. Again, not just because of their nationality, but the different powers they have, or I don't know. It's really lovely to see that.
They have gone past the let's do one of everything, Noah's Ark mentality of representation. Because let's face it, there is a lot of difference in the world, and that's a lot of individual representation to do. So instead of specific representation of ethnicities or, okay, today we're going to do this particular group, they have created these characters that are multi-layered and not defined by any one characteristic. They're not defined by their race, they're not defined by their background, by their sexual orientation, by their size, by their species. One of them's a space monkey, it doesn't matter. It's who they are as a combination of all the things that make them up. And that's how we all are on the planet. And if we were to focus on the inclusivity of you're this unique person and you're this unique person and you're this unique person and each of us have a particular superpower. In the game, everybody has a power that looks like proton torpedoes and all sorts of things, but in real life, that's kind of how we work too. Everyone has a superpower. It just could be kindness or generosity or music or floral arranging, whatever it is. They can use that.
Quel est votre superpower, les gars? Dites-moi votre super pouvoir dans le chat.
Everyone being represented and everyone working together, and the idea of not feeling xenophobia in a game is enormous.
Le jeu est bien fait autour de ça. Après, les gens n'ont pas forcément les...
Particularly if you're young,
en ranked, t'as pas ce feeling, quoi.
Somewhere where you don't get a lot of exposure, to suddenly feel a relationship with a character who's from a different culture than yours.
C'est ça mon pouvoir.
It's
I am locomotive.
It's special.
And so I think it's incredibly important because the reason that we have superheroes, the reason that we have hero stories and mythology is to inspire us to see that in ourselves, to see the hero in ourselves. And so we're not waiting for Superman to save the world. We want to be Superman. We're not waiting
I want to be Superman.
Symmetra and Mercy and everybody heal and help and fight and Sombra take out the lights. We're waiting to be those people. We want to be those people. So yeah, it's obviously I think it's incredibly important. I think it's really empowering, and at this time,
je sais pas, Keps. Je suis pas sûr.
In the state of the world, I think the fact that Blizzard has created a world worth fighting for, that's the world they created, is really, really important. And
les Américains,
we've gotten so many letters and so many
nous font des reportages chaque fois poignants.
Stories that we've been told about people who see something about a character and they go, "Oh, that's just like me." And it's so helpful to the team in inspiring them in thinking about how we continue to grow the universe, to hear those stories, to hear those elements of how what we've done and what the talented team of writers and designers have done to create this universe resonates so much with such a wide group out there in the world.
I'm touched and proud of those values, and I hope it extends beyond Overwatch, but it's also something that, you know, Blizzard really tries to stand behind and emulate and promote. I think they're the right values, and I'm proud to be at Blizzard and proud to help with Overwatch. That's really manifesting a lot of that.
Pardon, excusez-moi. Ce sera le Junkrat de Soon. Oh là là, la Farada quand même. Oh, de dingue.
We have this massive base
aïe, aïe, la Blade contre la France.
And there's a live game that we support and make sure that we're always bringing new things to every single month.
Tous les mois.
Sometimes, like I said,
les nouveautés tous les mois, les refs.
Changes in on every couple of days. But that's really exciting, and we're really we have a good plan and identified about how we're going to go about doing that. we also have this massive esports piece of the business that we understand only helps to enhance and bring the game to a wider group of people that will be able to interact with what Overwatch is from a purely fan perspective. There is also sort of at the core of what we do is this idea that Overwatch is not just a game, but it's a franchise. It is a universe. It's a space that people want to inhabit. And that's manifest in the comic books, in the cosplay, and the animated shorts, the 2D pieces, all of that. We want to see that continue to expand. I love it here when I get to see people wearing jackets, or, you know, sometimes people will show me socks and they'll be like, I got my Pachimari socks on today or something like that. All of that is a representation of how much they love that universe, and we're excited to see all of those things continue to expand. So the Overwatch universe is getting bigger and bigger, and we're aware of exactly how hard that's going to be to maintain, but we're really up for the challenge.
On est prêt, mon ref.
Blizzard
On
has a
voit le
history
contenu.
of games that we've supported as the players. When the players are really engaged and they want to be participating and competing, you know, we deliver that. So I hope our history is proof that we will stand behind that and let the players lead in some respect. Yeah.
There has been nothing that's made me feel like a fan again so much as the individual moments where I see something that's been either created by our team or an extension of it by somebody who really loves what we do and then goes ahead and makes it. There are two standout moments, one of which I can't tell you about because it's not public yet, but I actually jumped out of my chair in a conference room and I grabbed somebody else and I was like, we have to do this.
Oh putain, c'est le moment. Oh non, c'est le moment où ils ont décidé de faire Overwatch 2. Oh non, les cons, il s'est levé de sa chaise, il a dit, oh, we have to do this. Ils se sont fait un câlin et tout, ils se sont félicités. Oh non, on est en train de vivre le moment. Il nous raconte le moment où tout a basculé. Oh, oh quel enfer. Oh non. Oh le hint. Ben, on sait d'où vient le hint, mesdames et messieurs.
One was the Doomfist 2D animation.
La release de Brig.
I always wanted to see these characters in that style, and I think it was Michael Chu's desk that when I knew that nobody knew what Doomfist was, nobody had seen him yet, and the way we were going to introduce him was through this animated sequence that looked like those cartoons I watched when I was like 8 years old, and I saw it and I was like, man, this is going to be for some kid out there. He's going to see that and he's going to be like, I want to do this.
Ever since I was a kid, I've loved hero stories, you know, and so to be a part of this, in addition to it being a game, which, you know, I loved gaming when I was a kid, and so came up with that in my heart, and in addition to it being something that represents people of all walks, like it's the first time in my life, selfishly, that my job and my life mission have completely lined up into one, and that's all thanks to Blizzard, because they've taken something that could be just a game and turned it into like a lifestyle.
Bam 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 bam.
One of the best pieces of advice that I ever heard was the American stage actress Cherry Jones says to students whenever she speaks to students that you should never confuse your success or lack of success in your career with your self-worth.
With self-worth. We are locomotive!
That resonated with me so strongly, only because I think it's so common, particularly when you're really shooting for the stars, which means you're going to get shot down all the time. It means you're just constantly going to get shot down. To remember that who you are and how good you are has nothing to do with whether or not you succeeded at that pass, like that particular run at something. And I feel like that relates to Overwatch in your gameplay, in the optimism of playing, of course. I think that if you can learn the lesson of continuing playing, and it doesn't matter
Ah,
if
ce
you
mec,
got
c'est
shut down
Boombox,
or if
quoi.
your team lost or what, it doesn't, you keep going and you keep being optimistic and you keep trying.
Christopher.
And it isn't a reflection of
Un
how you
inconnu.
are or how good you are. It's just how this run at it went. I think that's an invaluable lesson to learn, however you learn it, whether you learn it from Terry Jones or you learn it from playing Overwatch.
Pam 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 pam. Ah là 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 là. Mano a mano. Allez là, dépêchez-vous d'annoncer la World Cup. On vibre un peu là. Be the hero. Non mais bon, du coup les gars, en vrai le reportage était vraiment cool, même si c'était très généraliste, mais ça nous a permis de revoir des trucs à l'ancienne aussi. Et franchement, quand tu regardes ce reportage, t'as envie de l'envoyer à Blizzard en mode les gars, regardez ça, c'est littéralement ce que vous devez faire pour sauver le jeu. Hein. Une World Cup, du contenu régulièrement, ils l'ont dit, et des cinématiques. Voilà, des cinématiques, du contenu régulièrement et une World Cup. C'est littéralement les 3 axes d'amélioration que vous avez à faire pour sauver le jeu et pour lancer Overwatch 2 dans 12 à 13 jours exactement, je ne sais pas. Mais c'est bientôt. J'ai hâte de pouvoir mettre les mains dessus et j'ai hâte de voir la reprise de l'Overwatch League aussi cette saison. Voilà, bon reportage, on note. Merci Sisplay pour toutes ces pubs qu'on a aimé regarder ensemble, aimé écouter ensemble. C'était un moment merveilleux.